Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is March 26th. It's a little early in the morning. The time right now is 4:42 a.m. I wanted to update the video and share some more information about what's been going on. Right now, you have the same group of the gang stalkers that I talked about out of Atlanta yesterday in the video. I described to you how they've been doing their technology, what they've been using, and what they've been doing in turn with their technology. Again, I told you how these cowards run an online live streaming platform where they display these people that they gang stalk. Not only do they display that, they display these murders of these women and children, these serial murders. So we have a group of cowards who have used this online platform to solicit murder for hire from the viewers and the subscribers of the channel and other gang affiliates of the channel. And in turn, they use this information to stream it online. These are serial gang rapes and murders of these women. Now, they've been doing this since December 5th of 2021, where they live stream them. They have the gang members go out and find them, and then in turn they record, live stream, and distribute them. Since about 11 p.m., they've been playing the audio for me to hear of what they claim to be the murder of a woman and multiple children. Now, with that being said, it's run now for the last several hours. It is now 4:42, like I said, a.m. So it's run from 11 p.m. till current. It's going to run until they finish whatever they're doing, where they have these gang affiliates that they're recording complete these crimes. They get these videos multiple ways. Again, I told you how they're able to put these cameras in several various places at will as they choose. So sometimes it's them putting these cameras and placing them and physically recording it themselves. Then they've gotten hip to it as I've been able to record the dates and times, and they have the gang affiliates recording it themselves and sending them the videos. Then they also have where they have it where there are other people sitting in these videos to them that they in turn stream online, record it, and live stream it. They have the claim of having these multiple groups of these gang members out here completing the murder for hire schemes for them, that they again solicit on the same online live stream feed that they run the murders on, that they run me and my son on, that they continue to share all this information with this nationwide criminal network that they operate. Again, one of the claims that they continue to do is continue the death threats against me and my family. They continue to make the claims that all of these people have somehow been related to my family, whether it was extended family, whether it was cousins, whether it was people on Facebook, whether it was friends on Facebook. They were somehow related in some way, some fashion to my family. They continue the claims that they have a hit out on these people. They continue the claims that they are using this online platform to solicit these murder for hires against these people. Now, again, as I continue to share my story with you, I'll continue to share, again, what I've been sharing with law enforcement since it's happened. You have a group of cyber criminals who have gone from peeping toms and just genuine trash and weirdos and cowards to now what could be considered serial murderers, serial killers, serial rapists, serial just being able to carry out these crimes that they've been able to carry out because, number one, no one has believed the story. The story sounds so bizarre. No one wants to believe that people are capable of placing cameras where they choose and watching you do what you do just for fun and then displaying it online for others to view. No one wants to believe the scale of crimes that have been committed in the Detroit and surrounding areas against these women and children. No one wants to believe the level of cowardism that these idiots have displayed. So again, the purpose of my channel is to share the experiences, no matter how bizarre, no matter how unbelievable they may sound. It is to share the true story of what has happened with my gang stalking experience, and to show and share the world what gang stalking looks like. So again, not only are these cowards completing the crimes, these cowards in turn play the audio of the crimes in what they claim to be real time, as they stream it for me to hear. Then they also play themselves as they gossip and brag on what they've done. Again, bragging on having baby killers, bragging on just various things that, again, they are only getting away with because the unbelief of the story. They even brag themselves that nobody listened to this woman, nobody helped this woman, nobody helped these people. We murdered all these people and nobody's helped these people. So again, this is a large-scale operation that operates nationwide as they display, distribute, and stream this information nationwide. Again, they've made it this criminal network as they recruit other people to join in, whether it's gang affiliates in that state, whether it's gang affiliates in another state, whatever the case is. These cowards have been able to grow the operation from just a group of peeping toms and creeps to now pedophiles and just all type of sick shit. And that's the purpose of me sharing the story with you, so you can hear the realness of it, no matter what it may sound like to you. So again, I'm going to continue to share a little bit of background information. It's going to include how it started, why it started, and what these watchers have claimed. Again, I know exactly who they are. They've been doing this for quite some time now, at least a year and a half with these claimed murders, as I told you, as they started these claimed murders and streaming them December 5th of 2021. So again, in about 2020, I moved into an apartment complex in Atlanta, Georgia. At that time, it was called The Life at Fairway Gardens. It was off of Cleveland Avenue, 445 Cleveland Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia. 30354 is the exact address. Again, I moved into that apartment. It was just me and my son. So I began setting up, the apartment how you would prefer to live. I set up cameras, ring cameras as door cameras. I had ring cameras on my patio, ring cameras in my bedroom window, just so I can keep track of my belongings and keep track of all the traffic that was just in and out of my section of the building. By my door always, outside my window always, just the way it was just constant traffic. I just didn't like the movements of the people. It was just really odd movements of the entire community. So again, as I was coming in and out and the traffic was coming in and out, what I didn't know was that that traffic was part of the organized gang, the organized crime ring, the organized cybercrime network that these cowards have created. Again, they did take offense to what they claimed to be me putting cameras up. They felt that I put cameras on them. They felt I was watching them. They felt all these things that they created in their head, which in turn made them make the claims of putting cameras on me and my kid. Now, again, it was the two females behind it, and we'll go into that information a little further along, but they kind of instigated and begged these cowards to do this from the entire start. It was just generally, they saw a single woman who they assumed was by herself, who they assumed was easy prey, and they just did whatever they could do as time progressed, and you'll understand what I mean more by that. So again, as they continued to make these claims that they had put cameras on me, these weren't just regular cameras. These cameras, again, had the ability to watch, record, and monitor you, and send it to a live stream feed that runs online with no physical cameras in sight. Again, I know exactly how it sounds, how crazy it sounds, how bizarre it sounds. It sounds sci-fi made, but these cowards were able to use technology that someone else had given, that they had taken from somewhere else, and were able to capitalize with it. Again, these cameras gave this group of people an all access pass to every aspect of my life, where I went, where I didn't go, what I choose to do inside my home, even the ability to research the people I chose to talk to, or are related to, or associated to. So it continues to, again, matter the origins of the story. Even with that, it goes so much deeper past that, because again, not only were they doing this as a community effort, they also had smaller scales of it set up elsewhere. So they also had access to a hospital that they used as a cover as well for this gang activity. That hospital was in Riverdale, Georgia. They still use that as a cover where multiple members of the same organized crime network operates out of. Again, they work in shifts, they come and go in shifts, they complete these crimes in shifts. And it was one of the first hospitals that I actually was steered to by this group. So it was a hospital that I was steered to by the group, so that they can keep track on what was going on in the face-to-face environment as well. So again, not only were they operating out of the community, they were also operating out of a hospital in Riverdale, Georgia as well. Now, again, as they continued to live stream and continue to record and continue to have access to me without knowing, they continued to share the information with other criminals and other people as other people watched. One of the people that watched was a drug dealer by the name of Male out of DeKalb County, Georgia. He had knew my son's father. So again, they continued with sharing it not just with people that I didn't know. They were in turn also sharing it with people I did know. So it just kind of, again, went from one thing to another. The whole time it was just me thinking it was just the traffic outside my window. When you hear the conversations of them, when you hear the things that they were saying, I was just assuming it was just them posted up outside the window, because again, the traffic was constantly there. But again, it was way deeper than that. They were actually using the cameras, and then were actually inside of the home with me as they watched me do absolutely nothing but everything at the same time as well. So again, they knew everything that they could find out to know, and what they did not know, they continued digging for. Again, as a single mom, I spent most of my time alone, which I prefer. I've kind of always been an introvert. I kind of prefer myself over other people's company, because again, I know what I'm getting with myself. So it's kind of for me, that's always been my preference over anyone else. And that matters because they use that to stalk family that I didn't know. They use that to stalk people I don't talk to. They use that as a cover to complete the crimes that they've been completing since December 2021. Again, they use the fact that they thought I was alone and that I didn't talk to these people. Oftentimes they even brag themselves on the live stream feed. She don't even know these people. She don't even talk to these people. Just various things that, again, they thought was working for their favor, and it actually ended up not working for their favor. Not only do they complete these crimes, allow me to hear the crimes, they allow me to hear them telling on themselves about the crimes, telling what they did, how they did it, what time they did it, who did it, who's responsible. Again, they gossip and share the information. And I told you in the previous video, the cameras allow a two-way connection. They can hear and see me, but in turn, I can hear them as if I'm in the same room with them. So even all these shared conversations, all this information, as this group of normally about 8 to 10 people at one time sit in a room together and gossip about what's happening, what they're watching, what they're doing. They tell every detail on themselves. They've even allowed me to be able to create a schedule of who's there on what day and what time. I know that, again, they switch out shifts. Normally about 3 p.m., you have different groups coming in on during the week. Sometimes you have where they go 3 or 4 days without leaving. Then you also have a different group of people that consistently comes on the weekend. They stay the whole weekend and then leave, and then the regulars come. And we'll share that schedule as we go through our videos. But again, they're able to complete these scales of crimes by even rotating out and working in shifts to complete them. It's the most bizarre, absurd, downright crazy thing I've ever heard. But again, when you have cyber criminals willing to do whatever, willing to go through these lengths to make a dollar, willing to go through these lengths to, again, continue the facade that they've created, you have people that are desperate. You have people that are willing to go through whatever lengths they can to get the type of attention that they're seeking, to get the type of things that they want. And that's where this group of people lies. Not only do they seek attention and clout chase online, they seek attention from their victim. They seek attention from the other people that they're again, showing this information to. So it's just so many different levels, so many different ways of how stupid and idiotic this entire experience has been, which is why I choose to share it with you willingly. I want you to hear what has happened. I want you to hear exactly how stupid it's been, exactly how it sounds, and exactly how bold these cowards actually are. So again, as we continue, they continued again having these cameras that not only followed me in my home, but follow me everywhere I go. They knew again, the ins and outs of where I went, who I was with, what I was doing, and in turn, they also broadcast that online. So now you have a group of criminals who have access to me, and these criminals were okay with just watching me genuinely just living my day-to-day life. Again, nothing spectacular, whether it was working, whether it was going to the park, whether it was shopping, whether it was going over this person's house, whether it was going over this person's house, whether it was just spending genuine time with my son. Again, they had the ability to watch me in the shower, watch me in the bedroom, watch me in and out of private moments as they made the claims that they had recorded me having sex. They made sex tapes. They made tapes and recordings of my son and his personal moments. Again, they've made recordings of just me walking around my house, sleeping, doing nothing. Again, just broadcasting our day-to-day lives online as the ultimate form of reality TV show, right? Again, as they continued watching me, I thought it was because I had quite a few weapons and they were planning on breaking in. You could hear them talking about it. You can hear the various things that they were saying as they plotted and planned things right under my ear. You know, still me thinking that this is these conversations that they're having outside my window. These are these conversations that they may be having in the breezeway of the apartment. But these were actually them that I've been able to hear through the connection the entire time. Same females, same males, with the exception of people that they've dragged into it. But they even had several members of the community watching, and we'll go into that as well. Again, it was so loud and so clear, and it sounds so bizarre, but it was the connection that they have, the audio that you hear them on is loud and clear as if you're in the same room, which is why initially I thought it was people outside the apartment, people outside the window, which is why I kept putting up more cameras. I wanted to see who was having this conversation, who was saying all this stuff, who would be plotting on someone like this, who was making these threats against me unknowingly. I wanted to see who was talking all this trash. And again, it was the people that was already inside of my home. Now, it's so much information I want to share with you. Again, this is the first general background information into how it actually happened, how I noticed it happening, and who's actually responsible for it. But keeping in mind, that these cowards watched some more. They actually didn't start making these active threats against me and my family until I actually moved out of the state of Georgia to get away from the group. And we'll talk more about what actually happened with that. We'll talk about, again, what happens when criminals link up through this online platform that they've been able to operate as a criminal network. Again, what happens when you just, again, live your day-to-day life and it becomes a reality TV show for grown-ups, something for them to do because they have nothing else to do. And in turn, it turns into their everything. This is their 24/7. They do nothing else, whether it's just watching, whether it's soliciting these murders, whether it's live streaming. This is what they do the entire day, happily, willingly, and openly. They don't hide it. It's well known who's doing this in the community. It's well known who these people are in that community because, again, they gang stalked as a community. Not just that, they have other sections and other factors of it spread out, again, throughout the city as they continue to operate as a whole. And we'll go into that again. We'll go into the hospital information that I share because, again, they purposely sought and used the hospital records, hospital information, so that I would go to a specific place. They were able to gear even my health care towards a certain way so that it would benefit them as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Now, again, you can kind of walk into a room and tell where the atmosphere changes when you walk in and what conversations are being had, what conversations being said, all under the breath or all trying to be hid. Just little behavior changes and different interactions, which is why I say there were so many hands and so many people involved. Even if they were just watching, they were still involved. Like I said, even people I had known for 10 plus years were just watching. Now, again, with the time frame that it's been going on, it's been able to escalate from just watching and watching me make these crime reports to these reports and incidences against me and my family, to, again, making these constant death threats and these claims of this hit out against me and my family. Even them recruiting through the same website for others to help them complete these crimes against my family, against people that I may know, against people that they think I may know. It doesn't even have to be people that I actually do know, which is why they've been able to get away with what they've done so far. Again, they continue to want me to know what they're doing, what they want me to hear them do. Again, at first it was attempts to gaslight. At first it was attempts to play with your mind. They wanted to drive you crazy. I mean, they would share all this information with me on what their plans were and what they wanted to do. But in turn, it didn't do any of that. In turn, it made them more crazy. In turn, it drove them crazy. And it turned them into pedophiles. It took them, again, from being peeping toms and weirdos to being now what could be considered as serial murderers, serial killers. Not just that, because that's giving them too much credit from behind the computer screens. But what they facilitated and allowed to be broadcast and shared and distributed online puts them into that category. It's not that they've done it themselves. It's the fact that they've recruited other people to do it, and the scale that they've done it on has put them into that category. They've been able to, again, distribute these murders, or these women and children, these violent murders that typically run hours. And again, I have dates and times of all that information. All of that information has been supplied to law enforcement. They've watched me make multiple police reports. They watched me make a whole different YouTube channel. They've watched me report and share this information in multiple ways with several entities. And the problem with that is they watched none of those entities take it serious. So they kept going and they ran with that information, and they continue to do what they do because, again, even they'll say, nobody's helping this woman, nobody helped these people, we murdered all these people and nobody helped these people. They'll continue to brag on the crimes, on what they've done, and continue to skate under the radar of it being so unbelievable. But again, That's how most of these things start. You have a story that's unbelievable and it turns into one of the biggest stories in history. One of the things that they did not anticipate was proving that gang stalking was real, proving that gang stalking really exists. Because again, I had no proof. It was my word against theirs. Yeah, I was telling what was going on, but I had nothing to support it, nothing at all to show what was actually happening in a way that I could make it be believable. Then comes these cowards with these murders of these women and children, providing all the evidence needed to support that claim, in addition to making the claim that these people were somehow related to my family, in addition to making these claims that they had a hit out on me and my family, in addition to making all these claims. What they did not anticipate was showing and proving how real gang stalking actually is. So again, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it may sound like, I'm happy to share with you what's going to be one of the biggest and hopefully groundbreaking gang stalking cases. It's going to change the scope of the world. It's going to show the world that gang stalking actually is real and it does exist. And that's because these cowards told on themselves every step of the way. These cowards were not happy with the things that they were doing that were already criminal. And they took it to another scale of criminal activity that just escalated from there. Again, it's so much information, so much going on, but I'm going to stop this video here and I'll do a part 2 to this video because it's so much background information I want to make sure I share, but this one's already long enough. So just continue watching, continue sharing, continue subscribing, continue not passing judgment, continue to let the story soak in and continue to listen to the story. I know how crazy it sounds. I've lived it. I know how bizarre it sounds. I continue to live it. But just because it sounds that way doesn't make it untrue. And that's why I'm telling and sharing the story so that you can hear what has happened from me. Again, the gang stalkers are able to share what happens on their online platform with who they choose to. So I choose to share my story with the world as to what they did and how they did it.